Hey there, it's Jade here. I am doing a reading for RA who is paired up with me on an exchange, a reading exchange. And so what we're doing here is the elementalchanges.co.uk 7-card spread for New Year intentions. So it is called a tarot spread for planting the seeds of success in 2020. All right, so I've already shuffled the cards just to save some time here, and I'm just going to lay them out. All right. So the first card is, what is your intention? So it's the seed, and that is the 7 of buttons. So buttons in this deck are the earth element. So that would be coins or pentacles in other decks. Okay. And the earth element is a passive element. So anyways, we'll come back and actually look at the specific reading after I lay all the cards out. Card 2 represents the fears that are blocking your growth. Okay, and that is the 2 of buttons. Card 3 is, where can you dig deep to overcome those fears? That is the Messenger. And this is one of the 4 new cards that are in this deck. Okay, so I'm actually going to have to look at the book for this card. Card 4 is germination. So what is nurturing and growing just below the surface, waiting for the first shoots to emerge? Oh, interesting. Okay, so this is the unknown. And this is the second of 4 of the new cards that are in this deck. I promise that I have shuffled this deck a lot. Card 5 is the root. So how can you create strong foundations for your intention to build on? That is the Emperor. Card 6 is the shoot. So how to best nurture your intention to ensure healthy growth. So what I'm going to do is move this, and then I'm going to do this. And that is the 9 of Cups. And the last card is card 7 is full bloom. So what can you expect when this intention comes to fruition? And that's the Page of Needles. All right, so let's look at this. Bear with me for 1 second while I just grab the book. I wasn't expecting one of those new cards to pop out, so I'll have to just refer to the booklet for that. So the first card is actually, first of all, before we get into all the specifics, we've got, for both the intention and the fears, we have earth elements, and those are passive elements, right? They're related to, elementally, they're related to material things. So your health, your finances, even your, anyways, so those would typically be sometimes your work, depending on what it is that you do. And then in terms of, what to, so 6, I'm just looking over here to the iPad with the spread. So 5, 6, and 7 are all about, and actually even 4 are all about, how do you create strong foundations? How do you ensure success? How do you nurture the intention? And then finally, what you can expect. So you have a major card for how you create strong foundation. You have a cups or an emotions. So that's cups, water, more the emotional side of things, the heart, for how to best nurture your intention to ensure healthy growth. And then what you can expect when your intention comes to fruition is needles, which would be the air suit, or typically would be swords, which is all about reason, logic, the mental side of things. Okay. Yeah, and I'll come back. I'll speak a little bit more about each of those as we go through. So card 1, in terms of what is your intention. So your intention for 2020, and again, so let me just back up. Actually, you haven't asked me a specific question. You've asked me to do a general reading. So we're just going to see what the universe wants to tell you, I guess, in terms of your intentions. And you'll have to let me know whether any of this resonates or not. So this card is the 7 of Buttons. It's a happy squirrel. The happy squirrel is sort of just hoarding. He's not hoarding. He's building. He's working hard. He's trying to plant those seeds, plant those nuts so that he's got enough to survive in the winter. This is a card that speaks of hard work towards a purpose, towards a purpose that's going to yield good results for you in some way. Because it is the earth element, you're working hard. You have been working hard for a long time, maybe, because again, the earth doesn't move very quickly, right? So you've been working very hard. You've been very patient, and the chance for rewards is there. It's pretty high, I would say. Just maybe not super quick. Okay, so that's your intention, is to work hard, to persevere through whatever comes your way, and really plan. You're planning and putting into motion what you need to in order to reap the good rewards at some point in the future. That's your intention. So what are the fears that you have around this that's stopping you from reaping those rewards, perhaps, or enjoying it as much as you could? And that is the 2 of Buttons, which is also Earth. So the 2, so the octopus, lots of turbulent water down below. So, and he's trying to balance on this button and balance another one on almost on his head. So perhaps you are afraid that you don't have the ability to prioritize whatever this intention is related to over your other life priorities. Perhaps you don't have the flexibility to do that. Perhaps you're afraid that you don't have the flexibility to do that for whatever reason. And so you're afraid that you're not going to be able to prioritize it as much as you need to in order to put in all the work that is required to reap the rewards. So this would be your fear. So hopefully that resonates in some way. Okay, so card 3, we come to one of the new cards here, and that is planting. So where to dig deep and overcome fears. So this card is the Messenger. This is one of the new cards that was added to this deck. So if we look at the card itself for some clues before we look at the book, we see that it talks about spirit guides, protection, divine signs. So perhaps in terms of digging deep, perhaps this is recommending that you can overcome your fears through your spiritual side, through reaching out to your spirit guides, to praying to the divine if you believe in such things, and that help will come. Let's see what the book says, okay, because I haven't come across that card before. So this says, this card speaks to the presence of our spirit guides and the messages they are specifically trying to deliver us, represented here by the mighty hawk. It's about our guardian angels and their watch over us, likely sharing signs that we need to recognize. Okay, and potentially you are blind to the signs or unreceptive to their importance. So perhaps this is saying that in order to overcome your fears about prioritizing and how important this is, this is really saying that you can overcome these fears that you have by reaching out to your spirit team. Okay, so hopefully that makes some sense. Card 4 is germination. So what's nurturing and growing just below the surface, waiting for the first shoots to emerge. And this is the second new card in the deck. So it's called the unknown, which again refers to the divine in some capacity. So divine faith, openness, curiosity. So what is nurturing and growing just below the surface, waiting for those first shoots to emerge? Did I say curiosity? I did. So perhaps whatever you're working, so I guess my question is what you're working on, that you're working hard on, spiritual in some way? Is that what you're working on? Is it something related, perhaps a business that's spiritually based? And if so, this would kind of make sense to me, because in terms of overcoming fears, it's telling you to reach out to your spirit team. And in terms of what's just waiting for you to overcome those fears and set things into motion is set your intentions into motion, is divine faith and openness and curiosity. So let's see what the book says. This card represents the mystery of the unknown, as best represented by the unhatched egg and tightly closed flower buds, not revealing their full beauty just yet. In a reading, perhaps it calls for one to look to their curiosity and have an open mind to discovery. In reverse, the message may be that the person is too egotistical to see beyond the obvious and is perhaps too shielded in their approach. Okay, so it really speaks to having an open mind, being curious, and again, it still does refer to that blind faith. So I really hope this is making some sense. To me, it really seems like whatever it is that you're sending your intentions for, it has something to do with the spiritual side of things. Okay, so that's card 4. Card 5 is root. So how do you create strong foundations for your intention to build on? And this is the Emperor. So the Emperor is all about structure. It's all about authority and power, and doing, having a process and following that process, not going off the rails, not being a cowboy. So this makes total sense for me, right? So how do you create strong foundations for your intentions to build on? Well, you're going to work hard, but you need to make sure that you're doing it right. You need to make sure that you're following process. And this is not the place, and setting your foundations is not the time when you want to perhaps take the untrodden path. You want to follow some kind of process that makes sense to you, have some structure in things, and that will lay down a good foundation that you can then build on. And once you have that good foundation, then you can make some modifications and change things up. But you really need something to be able to lean on, right? You don't want to build on a faulty foundation to begin with. was 5. And card 6 is, how do you best nurture your intention to ensure healthy growth? So this is the 9 of Cups, which is typically called the wish card. The wish card is about, the 9 of cards. 9 of Cups card is about almost having enough, basically having enough. Your heart is full, being, having gratitude for what you have and being content with what you have. So you're at a point where you don't really feel the need to have more. Your heart is pretty full. So in terms of how to best nurture your intention, so this intention to plant those seeds and work hard to water them, work hard, and then reap those rewards at some point in the future. Stick to that plan, right? Stick to that notion of what you think the rewards, the possible realistic rewards could be, and keep that in your heart. Keep that in your mind, and that will really keep you motivated, and nurture that motivation so that you have enough oil in the tank. Gas in the tank, oil in the tank, gas in the tank. All right, and then card 7. I have to take a sip of water. Card 7. So card 7 is full bloom. So what can you expect when this intention comes to fruition? So this is the Page of Needles, and the Page of Needles is all about, so it could be the Page of Swords, I guess, if it was or Page of Air. So again, we're in the realm of the mental side of things, the logic, and so what can you expect when your hard work comes to fruition, or when you put that hard work in, even if it hasn't come to fruition just yet? You can expect that you can expect that you'll have some impatience to get to that end, for the rewards to arrive. You can expect also some, I already said motivation over here, but it's just that drive, right? Like your drive to do better, to, there's new ideas coming in. You want to put new ideas into fruition. You're going to have to, really, like, just be careful to stay the course. Stay the course. Things, I feel like that's really what this is telling me, is that you're going to start that hard work and you're going to get there. This all signs point to, your intention is going to get there. It's going to come to fruition in some respect, but you may along the way get distracted, get impatient, and you're really going to have to keep in mind what the final outcome will be. Okay, make sure you're keeping to some structure that will keep things moving along really well and keep that foundation running well. In terms of card 4 was, what is nurturing and growing just below the surface, waiting for that intention to start, is really faith. And now that I'm thinking about it, this could be the divine faith, could be faith in yourself, right? So faith, that perhaps you've got a block. Again, we're talking about what are you afraid of, that like what are your fears that are blocking your growth, blocking your intention? So if your intention is to put in the hard work that is required to reap some rewards at some point in the future, and you're afraid about that perhaps you won't be able to do it, perhaps you're going to perhaps you like a squirrel and get distracted, or you're not going to be able to prioritize, you're not going to be able to balance things in your life enough to enable you to spend the diligence or the hard work that's required here, the time that's required here. If you actually do that, what's going to end up happening is that this faith, you're going to your faith in yourself is going to grow. Okay, so it doesn't necessarily have to be a divine faith. So if this is not if this is not related to a spiritual path, could be something that's just related to health or finances or work. Faith in yourself is really important, along with it doesn't have to be faith in something bigger. It can be faith in yourself, and that's super powerful. Okay, and then the card 3 was how do you dig deep to, this is all kind of telling me the same thing, but how do you dig deep to overcome the fears of not being able to balance things and put in enough work or enough dedication to that particular project? Again, we're talking about your spirit team. So I don't know, to me this again doesn't have to be the divine. I think it can be your divine, higher self. So dig deep into yourself. Dig deep, if you do have a spirit team, then reach out to them, meditate, pray, whatever you need to do to get past those fears, move past. And what's going to really help you is to have a solid foundation, even if your brain is constantly going, squirrel, I have this new idea, I have this other new idea. Come back to what the reward is going to be and how happy that's going to make you. Come back to how your faith in yourself and in the divine is going to reward you. And the backbone is going to be the structure. All right, so I hope that made sense. I hope that made sense in some way or another. Those 2 new cards I had never seen before, the Messenger and the Unknown. I had never seen before, so I apologize if that was a bit awkward. It definitely was for me. But I enjoyed doing this reading for you. Thank you very much for letting me do this reading. I hope that it resonated in some way. And I would like to know either way. Like if this made absolutely no sense, please let me know. And I will, I can always pull some clarifying cards for you. But I really hope that it did. I really hope that it did resonate in some way to you. It's awkward when you have no context at all, as I did here. And I don't know particularly what area of life even that intention was for. So I hope that did make some sense to you. And I really look forward to hearing back from you. For good or bad, I want to know, that's why we're here, is to learn. And so I want to know what is working, what's not working. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope that resonated, and I look forward to hearing feedback from you. Thank you so much. Bye.